Hey guys, how are you? This is Brian. Welcome to Philosopher's Notes TV. Today we're going to do T. Harv Eker's great book, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. You cannot see the cover. It's a pretty cool cover, but I took it off my hardcover book here. As always, great book, 6-page PDF, Philosopher's Note. I've actually got 22 big ideas in here. This was one of the first notes that I created, and this book is just packed with big ideas. It's surprisingly funny. I didn't really have any expectations, but T. Harv is pretty funny and super practical. So his big idea, the theme of the book is we have a blueprint that is not programmed for success, a subconscious kind of blueprint in relationship to money that oftentimes is not in harmony with what we need it to be in order to have the level of wealth and abundance that we want to have in our lives. And his book is all about doing some reprogramming. And he talks about some of that stuff, and he also talks about some very practical tips. In the note, I focus on more of the mind stuff. You can check out the book for more of the details. And now I want to cover a few of my favorite big ideas. He's got a bunch of them. So why don't we start with the idea of playing to win. He talks about the difference between playing not to lose, right? Oh, I hope I don't lose. I hope I, can pay the bills this month or whatever, versus playing to win, right? And imagine if you were playing sports and you're playing not to lose. You're playing tentatively, you're contracting, you're not really giving your all, right? Versus playing to win, you're just going for it and you're having fun. So I love that idea. And he also talks about that when he started one of his businesses that really led to his success, he committed to going all the way. And before, he had been distracted by other good ideas, and he never really committed, and he never really experienced any level of success. And he says, we've got to play to win, and we've got to stick to it. We've got to move through the challenging times and not be distracted by all the other fun opportunities, and just focus our energy. And he said he wouldn't leave this business that he had created until he was a millionaire or more, which is an awesome thing that just allows us to play to win, know what our target is, and move toward it consistently. Really cool idea. And again, the idea there is consistently. As you know, I'm a huge fan of diligently, patiently, persistently, and playfully doing what we need to do, living our truths, moving toward our outcomes and toward our ideals. And if we do that, we're bound to be successful. It's actually an adapted mantra from S.N. Goenka, whose Vipassana meditation I studied. Awesome stuff. Diligently, patiently, persistently. I like to add playfully, and we're bound to be successful. Bound to be successful. So there you go. That's a cool idea. He has another really good idea, fruits and roots. I love this one. So he says that if you look at a tree that's bearing fruit, the quality of those fruits will tell you a lot about the quality of the roots. If you have really, really healthy and vibrant roots, you're most likely going to produce beautiful fruits. If you have withered and sick and unhealthy roots, there's no way you're going to have a flourishing, beautiful harvest and crops of fruits. It's just not going to happen. The fruits and the roots go together. Now, obviously that's the same in our lives. But the problem is that most of the time, most of us look at our fruits, our current bank statements, our current health, our current relationship status and vibrancy, and we see those fruits, and we don't realize that those fruits are simply the product of our roots, right? It's who we are in our deep subconscious and how we show up day by day by day by day. And we want to go fix the fruits like that, right? And somehow get some polished, pretty fruits really quickly, ignoring the fact that we've got to take care of the roots. We've got to do what we need to do diligently, patiently, persistently, playfully in order to experience the harvest we want. So fruits and roots go together. And my question in this context is, what do you need to do to nourish your roots, right? What's the really deep, sustainable way that you can nourish your roots so you can produce the fruits you want? Whatever harvest you have right now is what you have. Love what is. We're going to talk about that. Accept it, cherish it, all the lessons learned. And then don't look for, all the fertilizers and pesticides and get rich quick or get healthy quick schemes that let you make the most out of really bad roots, right? See how you can create really thriving, sustainable, organically fed roots that in time the next harvest, and the harvest after that, and the harvest after that, season after season, your fruits will become more and more vibrant. What practices can you engage in that honor the roots so you can see better fruits in the future? Love that idea. What else do we want to talk about? He talks about the fact that if we want our income to grow, we must grow, right? If we want our income to grow, we must grow. I love that idea. Byron Katie, we're going to talk about her when we do Loving What Is. She talks about the fact that the greatest stock market you can ever invest in is yourself, your own consciousness. And that's the whole idea here, and the whole way that I approach wealth in all the notes and in my life is I want to have the consciousness that naturally attracts and manifests and circulates wealth. I'm not looking for the how do I get rich quick things and the short-term fixes. I want to have the consciousness that naturally brings those things into my life sustainably. So that's really what we want to do here is we want to grow as human beings so that our income and our wealth and our abundance in every sense, our bank balance and our cash flow and our relationships and our health and our creativity, all of these things grow as we grow. So speaking of growth, one of my favorite big ideas is this idea of the size of you versus the size of your problems. So let's imagine 1 to 10. You can be a 10, which is you're just totally plugged in. All the truths that you know in your heart to be right, to be truthful, you live, you embody them. Whatever they are for you, you live them. You're a 10. You're connected to your highest self consistently. A 1 would be the opposite. All the things you know you shouldn't be doing, you're doing, right? Most of the time. You're ignoring all the things you need to be doing. You're doing all the things you shouldn't be doing. 1 to 10, right? Now imagine that a problem shows up in your life. Let's say it's a 2 or 3 problem. Someone bumps into your car, rear ends you, or something like that, right? Or cuts you off in traffic. A 2 or 3 or 4 problem. It's really not that big of a deal. Now, you're going to think it's a really big deal if you're a 1 or 2 or 3 consciousness. If your character is a 1 or 2 or 3, you're going to think a 2 or 3 problem or a 4 problem, and certainly a 5 problem or a 6 problem or a 7 problem is a really big deal because it overshadows you. Now, this 2 or 3 or 4 problem, if you're a 6 or 7, is maybe a minor annoyance, but it's nowhere near as big of a deal if you were a 2 or 3. Now, if you're a 9 or a 10, this is just a non-issue. It's life happening, you know. Birds do what they do when they fly over your head on occasion. You know, people cut you off. It is what it is. Welcome to life. You're a 10. You're not thrown off track. But a 1 is. But it's saying more about our character than it is about the problem. So this whole idea of we need to grow, and as we grow, our problems really tend to dissolve. The things that we see as problems from this level of development are not that big of a deal as we move up. Does that make sense? Really cool idea. You versus the size of your problem. So next time you find yourself irritated, ask yourself, is it really that big of a deal, or am I really being that small? Always a good thing to think about. And the answer is, if you're upset, you're really being that small. I hate to break it to you, but there's always room to grow and to see the best in any opportunity. So those are 2 of my favorite big ideas I wanted to cover. He's got some other great ones in here. We want to bless the things we want to see. Don't be jealous. Bless that which you want to see. If someone has a beautiful car, or a beautiful body, or a beautiful home, or a beautiful family, don't get jealous or envious or critical. Bless them. Invite that into your life by blessing it. Really cool idea. He talks about the fact that your comfort zone equals your wealth zone. We've got to be willing to stretch our comfort zone if we want to increase our wealth zone. In the Pursuit of Perfect that we're going to do soon, we talk about we want to stretch. We don't want to get into panic zone. Comfort zone, stretch zone, panic zone. So we want to stretch our comfort zone, but not be kind of silly about it and get into panic overwhelm, but just a nice stretch. And as we do that, we gradually expand our zone of comfort and by association, our wealth zone. So there you go. Really quick look at a few of my favorite big ideas from The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to sharing more with you soon. Look forward to hearing what you have to say about it. See you.
We got took a little challenging. We got a few more people into the coaching thing there. Did you guys get anything from that? What'd you get from it?
that a lot of the time it's more me when I'm more advertising, I should be. Problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny, I literally had this conversation with my son on the way to school today. It's like, you know, you actually have control of more than you think you do. And a lot of things that happen externally, it's not about what's happening externally, it's about how you react to it. And it's very easy to think that there's all this chaos and all these problems and all these different things happening out there, when in reality, like, you just have to figure out how are you gonna react to all this stuff. You don't have to react in the same way that stuff hits you. You can sit back and be patient with everything and just reevaluate how you react. And that's why I say don't react to things, don't knee-jerk reactions, all those things, those are not really good. When I was in the military, they taught us, and when I was a police officer, they taught us, you know, you had to evaluate everything first. Like, is this a bad situation? Maybe, but we have to like check it out, right? Like when we arrived on a scene, we'd have to decide, do we have to remove everybody from this area, or do we have to like stay in play or stow and go? Like, that was basically what we'd have to decide. And sometimes, like, a scene when we showed up, it'd be really bad. It would look really bad. It would be really shocking in some cases, but that doesn't necessarily mean, like, if I showed up and I freaked out, like, I probably wouldn't be a police officer in the military. So like, I had to remain calm when like other things were in chaos. And sometimes in our life, like, that's life. Like, there's chaos going on. There's people that are upset. There's problems happening. That happens in escrow a lot. Like, when you're in escrow on a property and things catch fire, and when I say catch fire, I mean like the home inspection found this, and the escrow person said this, and the buyer's mad at this, and the other agent's like, all these fires are happening, and there has to be a calm presence to kind of figure out, because a lot of times the solutions are really simple. So you have to just be patient with that. That's a good observation. Did you get anything from it? Same thing. Same. What I found interesting is, so I read this book, gosh, I read this book probably like 16, 17 years ago, like a long time ago. So I don't even know if I remember all of this, but when he was talking about the fruits and the roots, this is something that I work with on my training and coaching, because that what this is talking about is your foundation, right? Your foundation is everything in your business. When I started in real estate, things were great. And then in 2008, everything went to crap and the market died. But then short sales started happening, REOs started happening. And so some people were able to figure that market out. And I know of a specific person who was a lender who was just capitalizing on all of this stuff, right? And he ended up getting a Lamborghini. And I remember, like, this guy lived in this like weird house in Granada Hills and drove a Lamborghini. Like, he'd go to Ralph's in a Lamborghini. It was weird. But then when the market turned again, he literally disappeared. Lamborghini disappeared. He disappeared. And you'll see that. You'll see certain, like, when markets are certain ways, markets will always change. You'll see some people rise to the top and some people fall to the bottom. Some people will become rock stars. Some people will disappear. And that's because they're riding the market of the moment. Like, they're capitalizing on all the things that are happening in the market and how cool the market is, right? I know people that had like 200 short sales going, which is like nothing I would ever want to do. But the way you get past that is you have to create your foundation and make your foundation stronger. So you're dealing with your business and not like whatever the market's doing. You can't change the market. You can't affect the market. The market's going to be whatever the market is. And if you want to ride that wave of the market, you're basically playing roulette with your business. So what you need to do is create a foundation. And the foundational part of real estate is your mindset, which is number one, in my opinion, your online presence and your database. Like, if all three of those are not on point, which means that you're not thinking positive and realizing that you can achieve your goals and figuring out what your goals are and work toward them every day. And then number two, which is online presence. It's really hard to reach people these days. Like, door knocking is different. Like, cold calling is different. Like, marketing is different, and it has It has moved from being in person and on TV and on the radio and all these things to more of a social aspect to where everybody is almost online at some point in some platform. So if you're not there because you don't like it or like whatever your idea is, and I think I would talk about a team meeting, like if you were the CEO of Jamba Juice, would you be like, no, Jamba Juice isn't going online because I don't like it? Everybody's online. So if you have to have an online presence, otherwise you just don't have a presence and you're running a company. Your business is a company. So online presence is really strong. And then database. Database is the end all be all. Like if all of your people are not in your database and if you're not talking to them, then you're literally just not talking to anybody. You're not really talking to people at all. You're have some people that you run into and you have your close friends and you're really hoping that somebody calls you to do business with you. And so your database is the way that you systematically put people in and follow up and follow up and follow up. We have a follow-up class coming up in May, don't we? Yeah.
Yes.
So we have, so the follow-up program that I tell everybody that they have to do, I'm teaching the class here in this office next month. I just taught it in Bakersfield. It was a hit. Went really well. The other part is he talked about diligently and patiently. So when he was talking about millionaires next door in the book, I do remember that when they did a survey of the millionaires, that the millionaires came in the room and they all sat in the room and none of them looked like millionaires. They all looked like just your average guy. Yes.
Oh, I was watching Millionaire Matchmaker and that was true.
It's like,
Some of them
they're-
don't even dress or like. something
Yeah.
like that, and they're trying to keep face to face.
Because they think they don't need to please anybody.
yeah. Yeah, they're just,
They're happy themselves.
absolutely. And I think that the people who became millionaires in the book that they talked about were, it was patience and diligence, time on task, over a period of time, not in a long period of time, but in a short period of time, if they were patient and diligent in what they were doing, they ended up amassing the amount of money that they would be considered, or assets that they would be considered millionaires. And I believe most of them in the book were through real estate. Like you don't have to buy a lot of homes to become asset rich when it comes to, buying real estate or becoming a millionaire. But it all has a process. And I tell people when they join real estate, whether you've been in real estate forever or you just started in real estate and you're not where you want to be, you have a process for you to get where you need to go. And everybody's process is different because you're different, your database is different. And the only way to get there and the fastest way to get there is to be patient with whatever process that is. You have to call people every day. You have to talk to people consistently. And then over time, patient and diligence, you'll get there. I've seen it happen. And I've seen people that have gotten to the point to where they're like 6 months in, nothing's happening, and they're like, I quit. Well, that's the only way you fail is if you quit. The longest time it took for me to see somebody become successful was when I first started, they talked about this guy that was a farmer. He farmed in Reseda, I believe, in Reseda in the Valley. And he started and they said, and the office manager told me, he said, okay, I need you to go door knock. Go door knock. He's like, when do I door knock? He goes, whenever you can. Just go door knock. Go door knock for an hour or two a day. So what he would do is he would prep all this stuff before he went. He'd go out for an hour to 2 hours a day to door knock, and then he'd come back and he would send follow-up notes. So like your door knocking is not done until your follow-up notes are done. He did that, and it cost him like $1,200 a month for all the marketing and all the stuff that he would have to pay out of his pocket because he was farming a lot of houses. And the office manager said, just go door knock, just do that. Just do that every day. Did that every day. First month, second month, third month, fourth month, nothing. Got nothing. No listings, no buyers, no nothing. And the guy goes back to the office manager, goes, listen, I'm not getting you anything. I'm like $5,000-$6,000 in the hole right now. I don't really have a lot of money. What do I do? Office manager was like, keep going. Keep going. 5th month, 6th month, 7th month. He's like, I'm almost 10 grand in the hole. Like, what do I do? He's like, keep going. Just keep going. It will happen. Just keep going. He kept, and I give it to the guy. The guy believed in him and he kept going. 7th month, 8th month, 9th month, nothing. 10th month, 12th month, 12th month, 12 months in, 1 year, got a listing. Got a listing from his farm. That next year, he was in the top 10 of that office, and he's never not been in the top 10 of that office for his entire career. And he just crushed it because he just kept going, was consistent, was diligent. His process, and I think that he probably should have been successful before that, but I don't know the details. But he was just patient, he was diligent, he kept going, and he ended up, becoming one of the top agents within a 12-month period of time. That's what I find that really super fascinating. When he was talking about letting things affect you, I think it's Hal Elrod who wrote The Miracle Morning, talked about the 5-minute rule or the 5-year rule. So if something's not going to affect you, if something's happening right now, if it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't let it bother you for 5 minutes. It's easier said than done. I will attest to that, but it's a great policy. Like so many things we let upset us and bother us today, when in 5 years, we're not even, first of all, we probably won't even remember what it is, but yet it feels like it's traumatizing and stressful today. And real estate is very much like that because there's just so many crazy things that can happen. And when you have like a $20,000 commission on the line, it feels very stressful and volatile. And then in 5 years, you're probably not even gonna remember what happened, who happened, and why it happened. So that's a really good rule. All of this stuff, I think this and all of this is connected on like, how do you grow? How do you grow? And then the comfort zone. So the way you grow is you have to think about, like, create a goal. You create a goal, like, where do you want to be in 12 months? You say, I want to sell 10 homes, make 100K. So that's like a little less than a house a month. So you create that goal, and the way you create that goal is that you have to do things that are outside of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is what is good now. And so if everything's good now, you have to be, in a year, if you stay where you're at and everything's good now, you're going to be in the same place. So that should be the biggest fear you have, is that I'm going to be in the same place I am next year that I am this year. So now you have to start doing things that are not outside of your comfort zone. So when it comes to lead generation and making $100,000, think about something that you know you need to do that scares you a little bit. Where it's like, I don't know if I really want to do that. Like, I don't want to door knock. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. Like, that is your comfort zone saying, stay where you're at, don't move. If it's a little uncomfortable, like, I can do that, but I'm not sure I want to. Like, you got to start doing these little things that push your boundaries, that make you a little bit uncomfortable. Because I use Richard Schulman as an example a lot, because Richard Schulman has just done so many different crazy numbers compared to everybody else, that the thing that makes him different is that he's consistent in his behavior. And if you want to do the business he does, you have to probably talk to more people than he does. Like, he did, what is it, 256 deals last year. Most agents don't even talk to 256 people a year, much less do that many deals. How many people do you think he had to talk to get 256?
10,000?
Maybe. Hint, it was way more than 256. Way more than 256. And so, thinking of it like that, if you wanted to do 10 deals, and so let's say 10,000, you say 10,000, so if you had to extrapolate 10,000 to figure out how many people you got to talk to do 10, it'd be way more than 256, still. So it's like, you have to figure out what your comfort zone is and start like moving beyond and doing the things that make you feel uncomfortable consistently and keep growing. And I give you a perfect example is that, like, working out and lead generation to me are very, very similar. Like, I want to lose weight and I want to gain muscle. I will never do that by lifting the same amount of weight every day. If I go and lift, so I do, like, when I do my shoulder presses, if I did 40-pound weights, shoulder press, which is 80 pounds, if I did that every day, I get to a point where my muscles don't grow. And I did that for a really long period of time. So now I'm at 60. and I'm actually seeing a difference. Because once I can do that comfortably, I'm gonna go to 65, and then I'm gonna go to 70. So like my trainer that I have pushes me so much. Right now, I'm lifting, I'm lifting more than I've ever lifted in my entire life. And I'm seeing the difference, and I'm feeling the difference, which is really important. And lead generation is the same way. If you're contacting 5 to 10 people every day and that's comfortable for you, you should probably start trying to stretch yourself a little bit. Don't double it, don't triple it. Do 5 more a day. Do whatever makes you not, do whatever you need to do to not scare you to stop doing it, but do enough to make you grow and feel a little bit more uncomfortable. Does that make sense? So like, what could you do? I'm gonna ask everybody in the room. Not gonna mess with people on Zoom if I don't have to. If I had to ask you, what could you do today that would be a little bit uncomfortable, but would help move your business forward? What could you do? What could you do? Make more calls. So how many calls are you making now? 10. So how many more could you make that would be a little uncomfortable, but still move forward? 15 or 20? Okay, 15, that's probably good. You know, and then when that gets comfortable, you can go to 20 and so on and so forth. What about you? What could you do that affect your business that's a little uncomfortable?
I think like, whenever I go through and I'm like, who am I gonna call today? Cause I have been pretty consistent about calling like 5 to 10 people. To not go over those people who I'm like, really don't know how they're gonna respond to me.
Okay. Who am I going to call today? It's a good question. So you go through your list and you figure out, who am I gonna call today? Because there's a group of people you're not sure how they're gonna respond.
You know, obviously about, I'd say half of the people in my phone, I do talk to regularly and like, I don't feel uncomfortable calling
Yeah.
them. If I had any hesitation, it would be like, maybe like, well, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna say, but then I like think it through before I do. What's going on in my life and what can I invite them to, or what's going on with them.
Yeah. So what if you did this? What if you just called everybody? Not worried about who you were calling, you just called everybody. And the people that you're like, I'm not sure what they would say or how they would react. What if you looked up like what they did in social media and called them about that? Said, hey, I just saw you were at a party last week, or I just saw you went on this vacation, or I just saw something about your dog, or like, and you just called and said, hey, I saw you on social media and it made me want to talk to you. I just want to see how you're doing. That's a pretty easy conversation, right? Because now you're not talking about yourself, you're talking about them. And it's somebody, if you haven't talked to them, I imagine these are people you probably don't talk to all the time, right? So.
I'm fine, I'm gonna talk to them all. It's like people that like, there was some sort of issue with an ex or
Yeah.
something like that, I'm like.
An ex, though, maybe divorce, like that's a possible sale, right? So you gotta think like that. You gotta think, you never know. But-
I mean, want to talk to them.
Right.
Sometimes I'm like, why do I even have that number?
Right, so that comes down to what I talk about, the willing part of it, like, what are you willing to do?
Yeah.
What are you willing to do? Are you willing to talk to those people that you're probably not super excited about talking to? You know?
I mean, I think I have to get over like, that I think that they're gonna yell at me or.
Why would they yell at you?
They're mad at me last time.
Why were they mad at you?
Left, like, if those are people that you left on bad terms.
Okay, did you make them homeless?
No,
Well, then you probably should, be able to figure that out then.
I know, I'm like, want to be okay, that's what I do.
So a lot
I
of times.
judge myself more than.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. Don't be so hard on yourself. But you have to realize, like, you left somebody on bad terms or left a situation on bad terms, you have to realize there's 2 stories happening there. You're telling yourself a story about what they think, and then there's actually what they think. And the only way you know what that is that if you can revisit a situation and figure out, where were you responsible? And if I were to run into this person on the street and I was confronted with them, how do I solve this in the moment? And then you call them and you solve it. Because a lot of times, like, and I don't know what issues, that there could possibly be, but a lot of times if you take, even if it's not your fault, this is what I try to teach my kids, even if it's not your fault, you just still apologize and take responsibility. even though it's not your fault, you end up winning. Because in some cases, people will never take responsibility. So you have to take responsibility. Say, hey, listen, you know what? That's completely my fault. Even if it wasn't, you just take responsibility, you move on.
Yeah.
And then, and just approach things like that with volatile relationships. It usually helps.
And it's the aided, is the one I keep up back. That led to this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Enneagram.
If I know what?
Enneagram.
No.
That's the combative
Oh,
type.
yeah.
The social justice, so it's good for like social justice,
Yeah.
nonprofit work and like stuff like that. I'm like really involved with to make me care about things. Then also makes me care about stuff like this.
Yeah, you gotta switch that mindset a little bit and realize you're in a different mode when it comes to real estate. And all you're doing is just checking in with people to see where they're at. If it's a relationship that you don't want anymore, like I would never advocate for you to work with somebody you just don't want to work with. Like you can ask Tracy, like we've cut people off all the time. Like that's people that are gonna suck energy, like just time, like no. Like there's 8 billion people on the planet, like don't let one person ruin that for you, right? So if it's somebody you don't want to work with, you have bad situations, delete them out of your phone. We've done that with sellers. We had a seller, we showed up at a seller's house and he wanted everything done, like listed, offer, sold, and done in like 30 days. It was just completely unreasonable. And we both looked at each other, can we talk? He's like, can we talk outside? We went outside, we both looked at each other like, we're done. We went back in, said, we're not the agents for you. I'm really sorry. We wish you the best of luck. And we left, removed him from our database, just X'd him out of everything. He never sold. He still lives there. But I thought that's fine. But yeah, never work with people you don't want to work with. There's a lot of people out there, but you have to remember that if your database is at 300, your goal is that number has to increase every day. Your number has to grow. If it doesn't grow, there'll be natural attrition. Like you're going to go through your database and go, oh, no, there is nothing, no amount of money is going to make me call that person. Done. $2.99.
Or like people move, especially right now.
People can move. You can still help them if they move.
Or they already did move like to Texas or something.
That's fine. Because guess what? That person that moved, it's not about them. If they moved from here to Texas, they probably still know people here. If you keep in contact with them, they can refer you business. That's where we all drop the ball. We all drop the ball in realizing that the person we're talking to, it's not necessarily about them giving us business. It's about them referring us to all the people that we may know or may not know. That's where a lot of our business comes through. I think like more than a third of our business so far this year has come from that kind of business being referred to somebody else. That's like 3 or 4 deals already. But yeah, like $2.99 and then like somebody's gonna pass away. Like, well, that's, you can't call that guy. And so now it's $2.98. So like, if you're not growing this on a daily basis, like it will naturally have attrition and it'll naturally go down. So your job on the phone is to not just connect with the people, is to connect with people in such a way that they tell you about other people. That's really important. What could you do today to help your business grow that would make you a little bit uncomfortable?
Honestly, I think I should come out of my comfort zone
Mhm.
because I'm always scared.
Mhm.
And when something get canceled, I said, thank God. I am that type of person because I want everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I guess the next thing is I have to be more motivated.
Yeah.
And
What scares you?
responsibility.
What type of responsibility?
That to make sure that I connect with them and I'm going to disclose everything.
Yeah.
So,
The responsibility of them being happy?
no, they're being happy. No, it doesn't matter because they're all adults.
Uh-huh.
They make the decision.
Yeah.
I'm not giving the decision, but it's something I know I have to tell them.
Uh-huh.
So that's,
So what are you
But,
scared of?
I don't know. Just, I'm scared.
Well, they are adults and they are responsible for themselves, but so what could you do to make yourself a little more uncomfortable and move your business forward today?
I guess, I shouldn't think about it anymore and I just get motivated and just put it behind
Mhm.
and just move forward. And, just go to the right direction.
Does it make you feel excited, motivated, or happy for people to achieve their dreams and like buy property?
Oh, yeah, that's 100%.
Yeah. What else could help you motivate you to do more?
When I have a deal and, it goes through,
Uh-huh,
the way it should be.
yeah,
So that makes me more motivated.
okay. So again, let me
Gives
do
me
that.
more energy.
So what could you do today to move your business a little forward that might make you a little uncomfortable?
Well, I guess I have to do more follow-up.
More follow-up, okay. So what type of follow-up do you do now?
I have some buyer that, I mean, one of them wants to buy, it says up to 1.5, then it says up to 1.1, then it says I'm going to rent, and every day it changes their mind,
Mhm.
but I'm still working with them.
Yeah. So how many people do you talk to a day when you follow up? Not that many. So what if you picked a number and you dedicated yourself to doing a number every day? Like let's say it's 5 people. Do you do 5 people a day or not?
No, I don't do the
Okay.
five people.
So what if you were to do
Okay.
5 people a day? So I'm gonna call and follow up with, not to try and get them to buy or sell, to just talk to them. I'm gonna follow up with 5 people a day, every
Yeah.
day.
Yesterday, I called a client that I know for sure they have permit and everything, that
Yeah.
there were some discrepancies between title and, I mean, between the public records and their house.
Mhm.
And I told them to go to city and correct it, because that's what they told us, they can come. So yesterday I called and, she didn't pick up the phone, but I just said I was just following up to see if you were able to correct this, but they just. But she didn't call me back today, but I called Monday.
Okay. So you're gonna call Monday again?
Monday,
Okay.
yeah.
What
To
if
make
you,
sure that she received my voice message.
does she text?
She does text, yeah.
You can shoot her a text. Say, hey, I left you a voicemail. I want to make sure you got the message.
I can do that today.
You know what I hate that these and younger millennials do? The voice times.
Oh, yeah. I started doing that, so.
I can't, I'm not gonna listen.
Well, sometimes.
Oh, they send you a recorded voice text. Oh, yeah, I don't like that either. I get that. I totally get that.
Like sometimes there are it's almost too many places to look. I mainly look at texts.
Mhm.
Like that'll be the thing I check other stuff.
Text is really powerful when it comes to follow-up because you can actually do things that are cool, like send a meme. You know, send a meme, send a GIF, send it like all these funny things. You can do things to make things lighthearted when you send a text, which kind of ease the conversation a little bit, I found.
And I feel like I'm like the last generation. Like when I was a kid, I grew up calling my friends on the phone.
Yeah.
You spend 2 hours with your girlfriend in high school. People don't do that. Anyway, they don't answer.
They don't answer, and their voicemails aren't set up.
And last year I had open house, not even one person.
No way, seriously?
Yeah, and I.
You know what, so.
Claudia came to me to help me out, thanks to her.
Sean is on here. Sean did an open house last weekend. He said he didn't have anybody come in either, or like hardly anybody come in.
Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills. Did you have anybody come in, Sean?
4 hours and 1 person.
I had one person that I guess she was an agent.
Wow, I have not heard of that. I've heard of other stories, but that's new. I wonder if that's a sign of the market is changing a
Yeah,
little bit.
not many people come with their dogs or they're walking, or
Yeah.
there's always a neighbor comes and says, oh, I see your sign, but I never got a chance to come.
Yeah.
But that day, I mean, I even went and checked my MLS to make sure it says
Yeah.
open house. And Parnia was with me and she said, you put more than enough sign. or open houses.
Well, it was Passover, so maybe that
That's
was
right.
something
So
else going on there.
Last Sunday.
Yeah,
I had 2 open house and then that was the busiest time in last
Really?
4 weeks, yeah.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
but one, it was in Santa Clarita, we dropped the price. Maybe it was the reason.
Uh-huh.
And then what the other in Calabasas, even is over 4, it was very, very
Very
busy.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So that's an anomaly. Interesting.
maybe the
they all came
area,
to you.
no, because the area is different, you know, Beverly Hills is more Jewish community,
Yeah.
that's why
Well,
they did.
Sean was in Newhall, I think, right? You were in Newhall?
Yeah, I was in Newhall. There was a cowboy festival that was going on
Oh,
down the street. I
yeah.
think that was what affected it. We're gonna do another one this weekend, so I'll let you know if the numbers are higher.
Definitely. You know, so one thing
That's
for,
nice.
we have some veteran agents on here and a couple people in the room, and Shoko already knows this because she did it and it worked for her. But it's like one of the things you can do to get outside of your comfort zone. How long have you been in real estate?
11 years.
11 years. Do you remember the first house you ever sold?
Yes,
Yeah? What are they doing now?
the owner passed away.
So who's,
Oh, who bought it?
yeah,
One of them I didn't represent,
Uh-huh.
the other one I did. He was a developer that, many times I contacted him, but,
so you've sold probably hundreds of homes in your career. So what I would say is go back to the beginning and start contacting those people that you haven't talked to in so long. Because you never know, because like, I don't know why we as agents do that. We just kind of abandon our clients and like, we don't talk to them ever again. But if you go back there, a lot of them had really good experiences with you. And there may be a deal happening out there and it's a perfect way to add to your database,
so,
help your database grow. And you just lead the conversation with, hey, I was going through my database and I realized I hadn't talked to you in a really long time. I just wanted to apologize for that, but I wanted to call and check to see how you're doing.
I should do that.
You
It's a
take
long
responsibility,
time.
right? So, because,
They have babies and everything.
which is more real estate deals, right?
Right.
Somebody needs a bigger house, or somebody has a kid that needs a house or something, like, there's more opportunity there. But the key is that we lose contact with people for a lot of different reasons. That's not the important part. The important part is that when you call them, you take responsibility to say it was my fault. I'm really sorry. And I just want to call and see how you're doing. Worst case scenario, worst case, they say F you and hang up the phone. Great. Now you don't have to ever call them again, right? You just
So
take them out.
Those people that I know, yeah, so I'm comfortable with
Yeah.
them.
So so my challenge for you specifically is make a list or go back into the MLS and find every house you ever sold and start at the bottom and figure out who you can talk to and see if you can start adding people to your database. Shoku did that and sold a house.
Yeah, I was in Malibu, actually,
So cool.
17 years after I.
That's crazy. I love that story. I tell that story all the time.
Right.
So, and then what you guys can do is that you can go back through everybody you know and find out who owns or who rents. Like, that is something that I think is a very, very valuable thing right now, because right now I think there's so many people who rent. And I'd say a great portion of the people who rent just rent because they don't understand the value or know how to buy. And that's where you can come in to kind of educate them and get them on the education train of like, where can you go to buy homes? Because home values aren't going anywhere. They're not going down. Like there's one thing, and I'm not gonna say it out loud, of what will drop home values in Southern California. There's one thing that can happen.
But, yeah,
I'm not saying it. You can say
Wait, I'm
it.
curious. I'll put it on mute.
What
What is it? You're muted.
Oh, what is it? Oh, earthquake.
No, honestly, the people across our street, we bought our house is here, we bought our house for 1.3 in 1982.
Uh-huh.
People across the street bought it for 880
Yeah.
in 1994.
Yep. And so this is the thing, is that if that did happen, that would be devastating, terrible and horrible or whatever. But it would also be an opportunity, because I know of people who have built and became multimillionaires because that happened. Because what happened when it happened back in the Northridge one that happened, people just walked away from their property. They just walked away. And I know somebody specifically who owns a very large real estate company right now in Southern California. He just went and bought everything. He went and bought everything, and now I think he has like a couple hundred rentals. And he retired, sold his property to his partner, and moved to Vegas, and like he's just living the life. So like there's opportunity in everything, but property values in Southern California are never gonna go down. I don't know if they're gonna go down in my lifetime. So there's opportunity with people who rent. So like go back to everybody you know, find out who rents and who owns. When you find out people who own, and you can do this with title, you can have title pull information on everybody you know, and they can give you the information to do this, to figure out where they're at, who they are, and you can start marketing to them appropriately. If they rent, you can start sending them specific things about rentals and how they can own something. Somebody who owns, like most people who own a house that haven't sold anything in like 10 years, they just don't know what the price of their home is worth. And it's just like, you know, it goes back to that conversation I said at the team meeting, like ask them, say, hey, do you know what your house is worth? Like if I could get you the number you want for your house, would you consider selling it? No? Okay, great. Just start sending them stuff. But it's the communication aspect of it. It's the constant and consistent communication. It's the diligent and patient. So you're gonna get, there's one person in your database, something's gonna happen to that one person. They're gonna buy, sell, rent, they're gonna do something. You wanna make sure you're the person that's on the spot when it happens. So you have to be patient, yeah.
I have an idea, just talking a lot, I wanna know what you think.
Uh-huh,
I don't think the people who has, like me, I have one condo and I live in there, if they're calling me and telling me, we pay you $2 million, I don't think I'm gonna sell it, because I think, okay, I have to sell and buy, and right now my rate is 3 point or 4 point.
yep,
And then, that's why this target is not gonna be very successful target. And then, as I said in the meeting, I have a client, she took 800, because I told her,
yeah,
800,000 equity, which she doesn't need to pay, and it's like a line of credit.
yeah,
But then whatever I funded in Woodland Hills, 800, in this, in that, except you said, okay, go to Palm Spring, and it's too challenging
Mhm.
to get it to Airbnb, and they are not this kind. But if I find something fixer or something, but whatever we calculate, still we're gonna, even with, I buy something 800, not borrow any money.
Yep.
They are less than $2,000 per month
Yep.
minimum. So I just am a little confused how to, even I have money, I have a buyer, they have money in my hand, I
Yeah.
can't.
So it really comes down to like, it comes back to like, what are you willing to do? Like, what are they willing to do? Like, if it's LA is very challenging. It's very challenging, it's very expensive. And like, if you don't want to go the Airbnb route in certain areas, like that's, so you just start chipping away at the things that are at your disposal, like the Airbnb is an option. Going out of LA area is probably the best option, because your money does not go very far out here anymore. And if you have 800,000, which is a lot of money, like if you're able to put, and so part of it is like, you have to start getting creative with the 800,000. Don't take the entire 800,000, take $400,000, put that as a down payment, use the other 4 to do different things to increase the value of that property. Whether it's like you buy the property, you convert the garage, put an ADU in the back, and now you have cash flow and different things going on. But it's just like, you have to be very specific, and unless you decide to go out of the LA area, it's just gonna be more challenging, because we are in one of the most challenging real estate markets in the entire United States. So I think if you had to rank them, I think it's us, New York, San Francisco, and San Diego are probably the top 4 most challenging markets. San Diego, I think, is actually maybe number 1, which I didn't even realize that until I started reading the reports.
La Jolla.
Huh?
No,
La
everywhere,
Jolla in San
no,
Diego.
everywhere, from coast to coast of San Diego is
Yeah.
very.
Yeah, so it comes down to, maybe finding somebody, an investor, or like you're just gonna have to start looking harder if they want to stay in this area, because this area is just really hard. So it comes back to patience. You just gotta be patient, because a deal will come up. I see deals all the time. We listed it, but it's not on the market. A property in LA, I think he bought it for like 500,000 or 600,000 in LA. and the comps are supporting 1.2, 1.4.
Yeah, we have
I'm like, how did you find that? Like, I'd buy that. I'd buy
we
that.
have a neighbor on West Oak that I nannied for them. They bought their house in the 50s for $100,000.
Yeah, no, so like, when you said like somebody passes away or whatever, like going through your database and figuring out, like, you never know when that's gonna happen. We just sold a property in Lancaster to where we thought it was 550 was the price of the property. We're like, it was 550 or 560 or something like that. That's where the comps came in. But the sellers were like, no, we have to sell this now. We literally did a $50,000 price drop. And they probably would have taken less than that to just sell it because they got to get rid of it. So the deals are out there. It's just, you got to be patient finding them because it's not something, because if it was out there for everybody would be on top of it. They're out there. It's just going to take a minute. So, and the thing is that asking somebody, if I go to you and I say, hey, if I could get you the price you want for your house, would you sell it? You'd be like, no, I'm not going anywhere. But that's today. And so that you ask that question to people because you're not necessarily hoping that they say yes. Of course, you'd hope they say yes, but you're not expecting the yes to come back. It's mostly to see, do they have a number? And when they have a number, they think of you because you're probably the only one that's ever asked them that. You know, so it's more of like, you know, find out. Yeah. Because I'll tell you what happened is it's like, I can say, hey, you know, if I get you the price for a house, would you sell it? No. Okay, great. And then I follow up, I send you a card. It was great talking to you, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody in your family, something happens to somebody in your family, they move, they lose their job, something happens. Well, now you're probably going to think of me because I just had this conversation about you. It's like, hey, I do have somebody that this just happened to. And that's the value of staying in touch with your database. The property in Lancaster we sold for $500,000. That happened because Tracy keeps in contact with her database constantly, and we were literally getting gas at a Shell station when the person pulled up and said, hey, we were just gonna call you. My husband's mom's being put into the hospice and we need to sell the house, like fast, like yesterday. We're like, okay. We came over, paperwork done, keys done, and we just got it in there. So it's the value of having the conversations and being diligent and patient with the process. But the way you make this, if you don't have patience and you're like, I don't have as much patience as I think I should have, and I need things to happen faster. Well, then if you're calling 10 people a day and you're not patient, then maybe you need to make it 20 people. Like that's the volume aspect of it, is how many people are you talking to volume wise? That's going to determine how quickly you get a deal. Yeah. If you talk to one person a day, you'll get a deal someday. I don't know when, but it will happen. If you talk to 100 people a day, you're going to get a deal sooner than you think. See it happen. Are there questions before we wrap it up? Questions, thoughts, concerns? We have a Zoom user on there. I think that's funny. All right, let's play the last video and get out of here. Go have a great weekend.
You meet somebody wealthy, their family at one point was not wealthy. And then the one shows up. The one. One person changes the family tree forever. In my family, I'm the one. And it wasn't because I wanted it or I hoped for it. I fought for it. I want to win. I want to fight for my family. I want my mom and dad proud of me. I want my kids proud of me. I want me proud of me. I want to look in the mirror and be happy with the man I look back at. That he gave it everything, that he went for it. But here's the truth. Most people's dreams can be bought. With enough failure, with enough rejection, they will sell their dreams. They can't still fight. They can get a little bit, but when it gets a little too hot, they go, boom, sold, buy the dream, you can have it. It's not worth it to me. And their will to win is buyable. You can buy it, but if you decide my will cannot be bought, I don't care how long it takes, you can't buy this dude out. I'll keep fighting for my family. I'm the one. I'm gonna change my family tree forever. That's the decision. Decide now. You're gonna keep negotiating the price, or can you not be bought?
Don't give up on yourself. Don't throw the towel in so quickly. Many people give up on the 1 yard line. You know the human spirit is powerful. There's nothing as powerful. It's hard to kill the human spirit. There's greatness in you. And you've got to learn how to tune out the critics outside and the critic inside. And since I'm going to do this, I'm going to harness my will. And I'm not going to let anything stop me. I deserve this. Working on yourself, talking to yourself. That's so very important. Overcoming the negative conversation, that inner dialogue that's going on all the time. You've got to stand up inside yourself sometimes and say, shut up! I'm in control here. You've got to have an uplifted expression. Watch your body posture. All of these things affect you psychically. Start working and developing yourself now and prepare yourself for what it is that you want, because you expect to get it.
All I need you to do is speak up and say, I expect to win. Declare that it's over. That yesterday was the last day that you were a loser. Like yesterday was the last day you expected to come up short. When you set out for a goal, expect it to happen. Expect to be successful. Expect it to be positive. If you can expect it, if you can wake up feeling like a winner, if you can wake up talking like a winner, if you can expect that everything you do will come out winning, I guarantee you, you never ever have to come up short again.
It might be year 2, 3, 4 before you get your big win, but you could decide now, I'm gonna walk, talk, and be a different person. You decide that. You're the lead character in the story of your life. Everything has to do with you intending to win. Too many of you are playing with your business. If you make that shift, I'm going to win. We're gonna play to win now. We're not playing to play. We're not playing to see how we do. We're not playing for fun. Once you start getting some winning, you start changing. You talk different, you walk different. All of a sudden, this isn't the same damn human being. You can change you. You'd be surprised what a little winning would do. You'd be surprised how good you'd be if you just decide to win. Be number 1 in your office, number 1 in your region. And when you start stacking them up, your life can change.
Thank you for coming, guys. Thank you. Have a great weekend.